Today we're making the Annie's Choice block, which is block number 3. We've gone ahead and pre-cut our fabrics and labeled our fabrics with our alphabets. Here's what you will need for this block. From your fabric A and fabric D's, you need 2 4 7/8 inch squares. Today we're using 4-inch finished triangle paper. Fabric B, your background, you need 4 3.5 by 7.5 inch rectangles, and fabric C, 4 3.5 inch squares. From your fabric E, you need 4 3.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles, fabric F, 4 3.5 inch squares, and fabric G, 4 3.5 inch squares. Our first step is to make 4 half square triangles using our fabric A and fabric D, and today I'm going to show you how to use half square triangle paper. We will be using 4-inch finished half square triangle paper today. Place your 2 fabrics, your fabric A and your fabric D, right sides together. Pin your paper on top using lots of pins. So when we sew on the half square triangle paper, we're going to use a 1.6 to 1.8 stitch length, and we're going to use an open toe foot instead of a 1/4 inch foot. And you're going to stitch directly on the dotted lines. And now we're going to cut on the very outside lines, the solid lines, this solid line, and the solid line on the center. So all you really need to remember is to cut on your solid lines. And it's very important to be accurate when you cut. Don't go too fast. And now we're going to take our paper off. It's easy if you crease it. It kind of makes it kind of easier to pull off, and you just pull it off. You just throw the paper away. Make sure to get all the pieces off. And since you did a shorter stitch length, your paper should just pull right off. If you don't do a short enough stitch length, your stitches will unravel. And now we have 4 half square triangles, and let's go press them. First, set your seam, and then press towards your dark fabric. I usually finger press, and then press. And now I'm going to show you how to make a corner square unit. Take 1 fabric C, and on the wrong side, we're going to draw a line from the corner to the corner. So place your ruler and draw a line. Take 1 fabric E rectangle, put your fabrics right sides together on one corner, and make sure you have the line on the correct direction, and pin twice. And we're going to stitch using a 2.0 stitch length, so we'll change the stitch on our machine and just sew directly on the line. Now you've sewn directly on your line. Cut approximately a 1/4 inch away from your stitch. We're going to press towards the blueprint, and we've finished the rest. So you're going to make a total of 4 units. So we're going to make another unit that's very similar. Take a fabric F and a fabric G square and draw on the back, the same as we did before. On the wrong side, just draw a line from corner to corner. Take a fabric B rectangle, and you're going to put squares on each corner and follow your pattern so you know which direction your fabric goes and which direction your line goes. We're going to pin each square twice and sew directly on the line. So again, we're just going to sew directly on our drawn line. We're going to cut a 1/4 inch away from the seam. Use our scrap bucket to put our scraps in. You're going to press out toward the darker fabric. And we've gone ahead and finished all 4. You need 4 of these. And now we can put the 2 units that we just made together into 1 unit. We're going to set them aside, and we're going to pick up 2 units we made in previous steps. We're going to align them, put the fabrics right sides together and pin at the bottom. Change your foot from an open toe foot to a 1/4 inch foot, and using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew down the side. And now, take your unit and press towards your yellow, blue, and white rectangle. We've got all of our block units finished. We could just lay them out according to the pattern. It looks correct. Now put your pieces right sides together, and we're going to pin and chain piece from the top to the bottom. So leave your chain stitch in place. Press 1 block towards this direction and 1 block towards this, and we'll come back and sew our final seam. Just put your block right sides together. Pin every intersection like we've been doing, and at the beginning and the end. And we're going to sew a 1/4 inch down the side. So just set your final seam, press to one direction, any direction is fine. I'm going to use non-flaking starch, and I'm going to spray very heavily. Let your block sit about 2 minutes to let the starch sink in, and then we're going to do an all-over press of the block. Now we're going to trim our block by just trimming off the slivers, which is going to get all your loose threads off. Take my Creative Grids ruler. On the very center seam, I'm going to align with the line on the ruler. Trim. You're just getting off the slivers. You're not trying to cut into your seam allowance at all. We're going to do that on all 4 sides with the center seam and a line on the ruler on the very edge. Thanks for sewing with me today, and come back on April 1st for our Broken Dishes block. See you then!